Told the court that withdrawing charges against President Jacob Zuma damaged the public image of the National Prosecuting Authority. The party is disputing the arguments of the NPA and President Zuma's counsel that withdrawing the charges was about showing the public that political interference would not be tolerated. All right, to give us a wrap of what happened this week in court, we are joined in studio by our SABC News reporter, Aldrin Sampear. So nice to see you.
Morning.
All right, you've had a very, very busy week. After 3 days at the North Gauteng High Court, what would you say were some of the highlights?
Well, let's first start with the arguments from the DA. They say that Aldrin Sampear, who was the acting NPA head at the time, who decided on dropping these charges, was impulsive when he made that decision. And as he said in his affidavit, this is Sampear, that he was outraged when he heard the conversation between Leonard McCarthy and then former NPA head Bulelani Ngcuka discussing when to charge President Jacob Zuma. And this was back in 2009. And the argument that has stuck with the three justices, the full bench, is that why was the 1st of April such a magical day? And what we should remember is that the 1st of April 2009 was just a month before the general elections. And why did Aldrin Sampear feel so pressurized to drop these charges or to make a decision by the 1st of April? Well, what Kemp J. Kemp, who was representing the president, said that what we should consider is that the president had the view that, listen, by May I would be inaugurated as the president of the country and I need to know what is happening. And we know for a fact that the president was also going to apply for a permanent stay, which means striking this case, closing the case off and arguing a miscarriage of justice. Yeah. The other issue is around the NPA raising very strong points around McCarthy's influence, saying that he was the person who was in charge of President Jacob Zuma's prosecution. Kemp J. Kemp saying that why did McCarthy speak to Bulelani Ngcuka, knowing that Bulelani Ngcuka himself was a confessed sworn enemy of the president.
Sure. I mean, we saw the NPA arguing that the independence of the National Prosecuting Authority cannot be trumped for the pursuit of an individual. What impact or bearing would this have on the court hearing?
A question actually that came from Justice Lidwaba, who was among the three justices sitting there, is that isn't it in actual fact that dropping these charges and the perception from the public that has damaged the independence or the integrity rather of the NPA. The NPA is arguing that no, it's actually the other way around, because the inferences that have been drawn from this is that you have the NPA systems being manipulated by Leonard McCarthy, being manipulated by somebody very senior for the pursuit of one person. And the argument that they've been carrying out is that even if you look at the Browse-Mould report, which they say was Leonard McCarthy was behind the Browse-Mould report during Vusi Pikoli's term as the NPA head, where that report indicated that President Jacob Zuma was part of a plot to overthrow the government, and Pikoli and them found that actually that's not the case. Yeah. So McCarthy has been at this trying to prevent President Jacob Zuma from becoming the president of the ANC and eventually the president of the country.
All right. I mean, we saw the NPA defending its former head, Aldrin Sampear, arguing that there was political interference. We also saw President Zuma's legal team saying that there were attempts to use charges against him to, stop him from becoming the next president. What was the DA's response to all of this? How was it received by the counsel?
Well, the argument from the DA, and I think this is a really good point that they make, is that if you look, for instance, at the discussion that Aldrin Sampear had in November with the then Minister Bridget Mabandla around when to charge President Jacob Zuma, and Bridget Mabandla, the minister, then said that, listen, rather charge the president after the Polokwane conference, and the concerns that she raised there was the issues around security. And now you have Leonard McCarthy, who argued saying that rather let's postpone until after the Polokwane conference. Then how do you make the inference that Leonard McCarthy tried to influence the outcome of the ANC's 2007 Polokwane conference, but you don't make the same argument when you speak about the minister? And at the end of the day, Aldrin Sampear in his affidavit said that he made the decision himself. It is not a decision influenced by the minister.
Yeah.
So the argument there is that the decision or the influence by Lennon McCarthy should have little bearing on that decision to drop the charges. The other issue that they raised as well is that if you look at these 738 charges or so, if I'm not mistaken, that the president was facing at the time, these are very serious charges, and they also made reference to previous rulings by the Constitutional Court where Deputy Chief Justice Ikgang Moseneke likened corruption to the cancer that the country is facing.
Sure. Oh, when is judgment expected in all of this?
Well, judgment has been reserved. We will have to wait and see when judgment will come up. But just considering that it was heads of arguments only coming from 3 different councils, it wouldn't take that much. But something that the justice or the Justice Lidwaba raised during the arguments here was that this is quite a complex case, considering that it stems back from 2003.
Amazing. Oh, let's leave it there. Something I know that you are following very closely, along with a lot of other people. So judgment reserved. We wait on that one. Aldrin Sampear, SABC news reporter, talking to us about this the spy tape saga in the High Court in Pretoria that's been currently hearing. Thank you again for joining us.